Mark complete.
I'm thrilled to kick off this year's Waypoint, and I'm excited to have all of you here. And the reason I'm so thrilled is that this year, we are announcing our most transformative set of product and technologies ever. It is game-changing stuff, and I'm excited to finally be able to unveil it to all of you publicly. I think what you're going to see this year is that we're moving beyond reality capture. We're going to show you how we can take visual data, reality data, and transform it into actionable insights, into workflows that allow you to run your projects more efficiently. Not just your projects, your portfolios, and your entire businesses day in and day out. So here's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to kick things off and review what we've accomplished so far and what we're going to unveil this year. Next, we're going to hear from the product managers to get a deeper dive into these new products and technologies we're unveiling. And last, you're going to hear from my co-founder and CTO, Mike Fleischman, a little bit about how this technology works under the hood and a glimpse into the future. You're not going to want to miss any of that. But most important, you're going to hear from each other. You're going to hear from forward-thinking builders, how they're using new processes and new technologies to run their businesses more efficiently in a way that's more rewarding to the men and women in the field. It's been a banner year here at OpenSpace and for you, and I wanted to share some pretty cool numbers. Number one, there are now 350,000 users on the OpenSpace platform. That's more than fit in all these stadiums combined. You've captured an incredible amount of data, 52 billion square feet. By the way, that's bigger than the Grand Canyon. That's pretty big. Here's a stat I'm super excited about. There's now been more than $1 trillion of projects that have been managed on the OpenSpace platform. That is just an incredible number. Wow. And we've done all this with unmatched reliability and unmatched speed. No one really comes close to this, and we're incredibly proud to be operating at this scale for you in a way where you can trust us, where OpenSpace just works, and it works fast. All in all, you've built schools, you've built data centers, skyscrapers, housing, all across the world, and transformed the visions of our communities into something better. And we at OpenSpace, we're just very proud to have played, even a small part of that, even in Antarctica. Now, at OpenSpace, we started with a pretty simple idea. We just wanted to make the world of construction a little bit better, a little bit easier for businesses and for the people in the field. And we started with a pretty simple insight that a picture really is worth 1,000 words. And that this is so true for people that work in a real physical reality. So we thought, what if we just made it incredibly easy to have a full visual record, a comprehensive one of everything going on in a project, indoors and out, that would allow people to act based on facts, not opinions, and make decisions faster and more accurately. And all that has proven to be true. I mean, you can see it in those numbers, right? But we realized we could take this insight so much further, and that's what we're talking about today. I want to quickly review the things that we've launched this year already. Earlier this year, we launched OpenSpace Air. OpenSpace Air allows you to import aerial data, drone imagery, directly into OpenSpace platform, so you can see projects from the sky and from the ground, indoors and out, all on one single platform. And OpenSpace Air is doing awesome. It's only been out for a few months. There's almost 1 million images have already been captured and processed by OpenSpace Air. And I think that's because of a few simple reasons. It's modern, it's comprehensive, and it just works. It's super reliable. We didn't stop with OpenSpace Air. We also announced our next generation progress tracking system built in partnership with Disperse. And this is like the holy grail for builders, right? To take information from the field, reality data, and turn it into insights. Insights that help you manage cost overruns or schedule delays. We can take field data and turn it into things like percent complete or schedule updates, even highlight certain areas that make it as a problem for you getting the job done. What really excites me about our progress tracking solution is that it's flexible. It works on projects, not just giant ones, but small ones too, whether you're using BIM or not. It's comprehensive, tracks almost 700 elements, and most important, it is reliable. I want to be super clear about that. Our progress tracking solution is not experimental technology. It works, and it works at scale. Now, it's not just about big product launches. We also really care about ease of use. So one thing we launched this year we call Image Enhance. Sometimes you're out there capturing images in dark rooms, like mechanical rooms with poor lighting. With Image Enhance, you push one button, and we have a simple AI system that cleans up the images. It's fast, and it just works. Now, it's not just about launching new products and new features. We care about security. This year, we announced that OpenSpace is FedRAMP authorized. What that means is builders and U.S. government agencies can use OpenSpace on U.S. government projects. These are projects with the highest security standards that are out there. Now, whether or not you're building a project for the U.S. government or not, what this indicates is that OpenSpace has the highest and best security standards out there of anybody in the category. Now, this is a story that we told last year, but it's grown and I want to share it again. With OpenSpace, you get literal ROI. With OpenSpace, you can actually make your projects more profitable. How is this possible? We partnered with an insurance company, Shepherd, and what they showed is something pretty incredible, that builders who use our technology have far, far fewer claims than those that don't. 41% less, in fact. What Shepherd realized is they could essentially pass these savings on to you, builders, for using this technology. That means you get discounts on your insurance policies. And we're talking about wrap policies, OSIPs and CSIPs, that literally reduces the cost of construction, literally makes your job more profitable. Now, if that's not executive ROI, I truly don't know what is. You're using OpenSpace as a system to transform how you do work, to make your businesses more predictable and more profitable and just more rewarding places to work. And we're proud to be a part of that. So you can see we are launching new capabilities at a breakneck pace. But this is not just a set of new capabilities. In fact, this is all part of a singular and unified vision of the future of OpenSpace and of the industry at large. First, I want to share a truth that led us to start the business in the first place. Something I've heard from folks in the field, in the office, all the way to the C-suite. And that's this: the value of their businesses lies in the field, out where the projects are actually happening. That's where the profit gets made, where the value is created, and when things go wrong, the losses. But the crazy thing is this: the job site is the most underutilized set of data you've got. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because capturing the reality of the field is hard, especially via document-oriented processes. Now, this is a sad irony, but it's real. And reality capture has helped, for sure. But reality capture systems, including ours until today, they have their limitations. Of course, 360 data is valuable. Drone data, valuable. Laser scan data, valuable. Those are all parts of the OpenSpace platform today. But we want to push it forward. And there are three critical things to think about. Number one, if you can leverage the device that's in everyone's pocket, the smartphone that's taking thousands of pictures a day on projects, then you're going to get a much more comprehensive view of what's actually going on your projects. Number two, you've got to use more advanced forms of technology, visual AI, spatial AI, that can take that imagery data and make sense of it, what's going on and where it's happening. And last, what you really need is for that data to be integrated. so that people can look at the data in the places where decisions are getting made. If you have all these three things, then you're starting to get somewhere. And if you don't, if you're not leveraging the power of the smartphone, if you're not able to make sense of that data, and if that data is stuck in the wrong systems, well, the truth is, you're kind of flying blind. Well, we're changing that today. OpenSpace is moving beyond reality capture to be a visual intelligence platform for you, for builders. We are graduating from a tool that captures data that you can refer to when you need it into an essential platform, a system of work centered on reality that allows you to make better decisions faster on your projects, on your portfolios, and across your entire business, day in and day out. Now, I can't wait. I've got to get to announcing the new stuff that we built. It's incredible stuff. And once you see it, I think you're going to really understand the power of the visual intelligence platform. So let's get into it. All right. I'm super excited to finally be able to talk about AI Autolocation. This is maybe the biggest technology we've ever worked on since we started the company. We are going to feel its effects for many years to come. And I'm so psyched to be able to talk to you about it. Let me explain what this is. First of all, let's just talk about location. Location is important, where something happens, especially for builders. If you don't know where something happened, you might as well not know about it at all, right? So let's talk about another location technology to put this all into context. And that is GPS. I'm sure you've heard of GPS, maybe one of the biggest technologies in information technology in the past 50 years. How does GPS work? Well, it gives you outdoor location, right? By satellites or pinging devices, they can pick up location. Pretty cool. Now, if you didn't know, there's one major limitation in GPS. It doesn't work indoors. That makes sense, right? Because satellite signals cannot penetrate walls and ceilings. So if you want indoor location, you're kind of out of luck. That's pretty bad for builders, right? Because so much of what we do is inside structures. Now, we realized something at OpenSpace, that we were in a pretty unique position due to our technology and our scale to solve this problem, to provide indoor location in real time to devices like smartphones for anyone on the OpenSpace platform. And we've done that. Very quickly, here's how it works. If you're walking around with OpenSpace 360 camera, you're creating a kind of spatial fingerprint of that building. We can take that model, stick it onto a phone, and give indoor location in real time. So just think about it. You're out there doing punch list and you are logging issues. Instead of digging through sheets to figure out where you are, you just get the location automatically. It's simple, but it's truly game-changing. And that is just one application of AI Autolocation. You're going to hear more about this from Michael Jones when he shows you how we implemented it in the product, and from Mike Fleischman, our CTO, to give you a sense of how this works under the hood and where we can take it. And that's AI Autolocation. Indoor positioning, real time, no hardware to install. It's easy, it works, and the more you use it, the better it gets. Now, we didn't stop there. I mean, AI Autolocation is an amazing new technology and maybe enough for a year's worth of announcements. But if we really want to be that system of work, that visual intelligence platform, we needed to do more. And we did. We've infused AI into more of OpenSpace. Very excited to announce AI VoiceNotes. Now when you're out there logging an issue, just talking to the phone, and it understands what you mean. It doesn't just transcribe what you're saying, it'll actually fill out the form accurately. It'll fill out the due date, assignee, tags, whatever. It's simple and it works. Now you literally do not need to lift a finger to input issues into your system of work. Pretty cool. Now, there's more. Remember I talked about how for our system to truly work, the data needs to flow where decisions are getting made? Well, I'm super excited to announce two-way sync integrations with both Procore and the Autodesk Construction Cloud. These are integrations that are not just check the box, they work the way you expect them to. If you log that issue, it can automatically sync into one of these PM systems and both stay in sync flawlessly and seamlessly. Saves so much time. Okay, there's more. Now that the amount of imagery in OpenSpace is just exploding with these new mobile phone workflows, we thought, let's make information easy to find. So we implemented AI search. You're looking for something, just ask, and OpenSpace will find it. It's smart, and it's getting smarter, and it's tuned for builders and construction terminology. Now, all these things together, AI Autolocation, VoiceNotes, media library with AI search, an overhaul of how we take notes in OpenSpace, period, and these integrations, well, we're launching that all today in one integrated product that we call OpenSpace Field. It's really, really amazing, game-changing stuff. Michael Jones is going to talk about it soon. You're not going to want to miss it. Now, there's more. We've also been working on a set of APIs, Usage API, Images API, and Field Notes API, which are available to select customers. Now, these APIs are important because they demonstrate our commitment to what I said before, allowing data to flow to the places it needs to be to make better decisions. And I hope they demonstrate that OpenSpace is, well, open. Well, I hope you can see how all those things really make the visual intelligence platform come to life. Let me explain this in more detail, going from left to right. Number one, if it's happening in your projects, it's in OpenSpace. 360 data, aerial data, laser scan, and now smartphone data, you now can be sure that you have the picture of reality of your projects. Number two, we're using advanced technology to synthesize that information into something useful. We're not just collecting a folder of a bazillion JPEGs. We are getting meaning out of these images, both what they mean and where they are located. Third, we are making sense out of that data, and this is key so you can make better decisions faster. That could be within OpenSpace. It could be via an integration with Autodesk or Procore, or with our progress tracking system. All these things together allow you to work better with reality at the center. Now, I have to be honest with you, this vision didn't come just from us. We heard it from you, our customers, both ones that are new to the platform and those that have been with us for a while, those of you that are incorporating us into your SOPs. And in fact, you told us something pretty interesting. As you've been consolidating your tech stacks, you've pointed out that there are really, when it comes down to it, three essential pieces to the construction technology stack. And they're this. One, your PM system, where you're organizing a lot of the documents that you need to run your project. Two, the ERP, where all the money stuff is getting stored. And three, your field system of work, the thing out there that your field team is actually using to get the job done. And with these new capabilities, OpenSpace is now part of that essential triad. And the reason why that's true is we really capture field data better than any other system that's out there. More than that, we allow the intelligence to flow upward. We capture the intelligence, what's going on the project, and it can flow upward into the PM system and into the ERP, so that from the field to the office to the C-suite, you can make better decisions based on reality. All of this is possible because OpenSpace is designed for the field. We capture the actual reality and power all those benefits you see on the right. If I really were to boil it down, OpenSpace is now the front end for construction, that place where the field can go to get the job done and allow that intelligence to flow from the field up the stack so that the decisions are better all across your business. Now, something I want to share that's actually pretty cool is that when you use OpenSpace, you're participating in something that's compounding in value the more you use it. That there's a flywheel that you step on when you use OpenSpace that is already spinning. The more you use it, the better it gets, the more valuable it gets. And I mean that in a really super literal way. Like, let me explain. I already explained before that the more you use AI Autolocation, smarter it gets. Well, that's true. And in fact, the more you use 360 captures, the better AI Autolocation gets. If you get better AI Autolocation, then it's easier to flag issues. If you're flagging issues, that means you're speaking to the phone more, which means that all those insights are gathered up for progress tracking. So progress tracking can be more accurate and more real time. Well, if that's the case, you might want to capture more so you have even a more real-time view of what's going on your projects. If you're capturing more and you're using progress tracking more, then Autolocation gets better. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? The more you use the technology, the better it gets in a super literal way. And that's the power of this type of technology and the power of working with a company like ours that has the scale to have one of these flywheels. Again, if you use OpenSpace, we can be a great long-term partner because you're stepping onto a flywheel that's already spinning. Okay, A lot of amazing stuff that we're launching. We're super excited about it. To take a big step back, this is what OpenSpace is here for, to unlock the future of building, to be an essential platform that allows you to make better decisions from the field to the office to the C-suite based on reality, not opinions. And that is the power of the visual intelligence platform, so that from your projects to your portfolios to your entire business, you can know that you're operating in a way that is always visible and never in doubt. Okay, I'm super excited to kick it over to our product manager so you can get a deep dive into how this stuff actually works. But before that, I want to share a customer story.
We deal with a lot of technology, stuff like BIM coordination, drone flights, laser scanning, whatever you want. If it's got a technology problem, we can have a solution for it.
Some of the things that we've done in the past with OpenSpace using the modeling on interior was to catalog and show the quality and the work that's being done inside of our projects. With the drone, we can now expand outside those four walls from a perspective that we weren't able to see.
We like to pay attention to what's going on multiple sites at a time. So it's really helpful to be able to go from Reno to LA to Phoenix in a matter of clicks, and having that all consolidated with our ground capture walks are hugely helpful in tracking progress and keeping in touch with our teams.
The advent of drones and being able to use them in the construction field has been incredibly advantageous. We bring these devices out here and now I can see a multitude of things. We have in the ground excavation work. We've had to install a variety of rebar and some piping in there. It gives us a variety of different opportunities to make sure the job is run safe and done properly.
Having drones in OpenSpace really helps me out because I'm able to go to the site, do my flight. By the time that I'm back in the office and finish my lunch, it's finished processing and I can present what I've taken in the field to the team directly. Show them the orthographic maps, as well as create a point cloud or a mesh of the footage that was taken.
Your OpenSpace cameras mount to a person's helmet, and that person can walk through the site. And then ultimately having all of that information just at a fingertip and a click of a mouse.
Getting the data done into OpenSpace is pretty simple. It's basically just a drag and drop in, and the process just happens automatically on the back end of OpenSpace. I really don't need to do much on my end. The benefit is being able to have it all in one space rather than having it as its own separate edition from the other footage that we take off the field.
It also makes it a lot more simple for our clients, so there's really just one point of entry into a program, the information that's all packaged nice and neat and concise in OpenSpace.
We like to stay ahead of things instead of have to react. We have an example where we had a late change. We were adding some site lighting and we were able to use the drone footage to go back and understand where our underground utilities were.
It offered a lot of help to a client where we realized we missed a clean out. Going back to the history, pulling up the picture, we were able to identify exactly where it was. It was a pretty easy fix.
Bunch of success stories. I'm sure there'll be many more to come.
I can't wait to see the future. There's so much cool stuff coming. So I love it. It's great stuff.
That was great. Hi, my name is Jess. I'm the Director of Product here at OpenSpace. I've been here for almost 5 years. I actually got my start in construction technology working on SiteScan, a drone mapping and modeling solution later acquired by Esri. When I was first working on drones, I had dreams of bringing interior capture and marrying that with the captures from above. So this year, when I got the opportunity to start working on OpenSpace Air, I got to see that dream come true. When we launched OpenSpace Air in May, one thing we didn't tell you is that it was the first step in building the vision of our visual intelligence platform. For a visual intelligence platform to deliver the most value to our customers, we need all of your reality data in one place so it can generate insights and you can take action. Historically, OpenSpace Capture has primarily been used during the build phase of construction. But with OpenSpace Air, you can start capturing before you even sign a contract opening up value during the bidding and pursuit phase of work, during planning and pre-con, and with earthworks and managing everything happening on your site from above. Now we're going to jump into the product and go over some of the use cases we've learned about from our customers. And before we do that, I want to thank Lee Kennedy, a general contractor in the Boston area, for providing today's demo site and tons of valuable feedback during the development of OpenSpace Air. With OpenSpace Air, we make it easy to upload images from any drone. Your teams don't need to change their workflows in the field, and we automatically generate orthomosaics, meshes, point clouds, and elevation models. And then you can bring your drawings and site plans and overlay them onto the orthomosaic. This opens up opportunities to start understanding the site before you've even won the bid. You can plan the first phase of work where materials are going to be delivered. You can manage QA, QC, and earthworks with overlays. And then as you start to capture more and more, you can use tools like Split View to see how the site's changing over time and compare up to 4 different captures at the same time and drill into specific areas to understand what changed and when. And when you want to get a quick assessment on the elevation of your site, where water might be running or pooling, or just a quick glance at any excavation that's going to be happening, you can pull up the elevation heat map. At the end of each month, when you're writing your client updates and reports, you can include the drone imagery from OpenSpace Air and shots of the 3D mesh to give your client a clear picture of the progress that's being made and continue building that trust. And lastly, when you're running your weekly coordination meetings, you can start off with a picture from above, and with a click of a button, you can jump into the interior of the project and really get into the weeds. So you're knocking out issues and moving on to that next phase of the build even faster. Our goal from the beginning with OpenSpace Air was to make it as easy to use as possible. And the data shows that. We have nearly 1 million images uploaded to OpenSpace Air from sites all over the world. I've been particularly excited by the adoption of our overlays feature. All the site plans, utility plans, pour plans that your teams are uploading and aligning to check reality versus the plans you have to finish this project. Now let's zoom in a bit. You already heard from Gil Bain during the video before this session, but I wanted to highlight the way that we build product here at OpenSpace. We partner with customers like Gil Bain early in the development process, both at a high level, understanding what features to prioritize when to deliver the most value, and then getting into the weeds with their teams in the field and identifying any rough edges to save your teams as much time as possible on getting the value out of the technology you're investing in. Now, the moment many of you have been waiting for, especially those of you who've already been using OpenSpace Air, a peek into what's coming next. Visual intelligence platforms are more than just storage for your reality data. It's about turning insight into action. That's why I'm excited to be launching measurements in the coming weeks. That will allow your team to do distance measurements, take area, volume, cut fill, all from the same place you're already doing 360 capture. So you can manage QA, QC, earthworks, all from one place. And with visual intelligence platforms, it's also about getting the data to where it needs to go. That's why we'll be launching exports so that you can get those orthos, point clouds, elevation models out of Air and into other tools like ArcGIS and Civil 3D to extend the value to other teams at your business. And we want to make sure that Air data flows into other parts of the OpenSpace platform. That's why we're going to be launching the ability to capture on your orthomosaics. So when you're on a project early and there's no structures that are showing up in the site plans, and you want to have an even richer context when you're capturing in 360, then now I'll be able to do that on the orthomosaic. And of course, accuracy is critical when it comes to reality capture. And so we're going to be launching georeferencing tools to ensure that your orthomosaics show up in the correct place on the map and that they're consistently aligned from capture to capture with just a couple clicks of a button. And that will ensure that measurements, overlays, and split screen work even better. And with all the amazing work that's been going into field notes that you're going to learn about more from Michael Jones in a bit, we know that it's critical to bring field notes into air by allowing your teams to document issues and work them from within your drone captures, which will really supercharge your workflows. OpenSpace Air isn't just evolving, it's accelerating how we build. With these upcoming features, drone data becomes actionable intelligence, part of the flywheel powering smarter, faster fieldwork. OpenSpace Air is the first step for visual intelligence. From the first flight to assess site conditions to the final handover, Air gives your team the clarity and speed to take action. With OpenSpace Air, you can start generating visual intelligence on day zero, all in one place. If you're interested in learning more, reach out to get a demo today, and we can help you get started on transitioning all your data to OpenSpace.
Hey Clay, so tell me a little bit about where we are right now.
We're at Williams Elementary School. We are doing a 45,000 square foot renovation from an open concept to a more traditional school. We've got brand new doors, brand new flooring, paint, drywall. We've redone the entire inside of the school, so now it's more of a functioning school where the teachers can really teach instead of having just an open collab for everything.
How did technology play a role into that?
The easiest way for us to communicate has been for the open space. So that way everything that I'm seeing, they're seeing, and we're not having a bunch of paperwork on the ground or at the desk, and we're really communicating in real time.
Balfour Bees, a large national contractor. Y'all are managing hundreds of sites across the country. Can you tell me about y'all's approach on how you select the technology that your field teams are operating off of?
We've got a total of 35 active projects, and that's not including all the other projects that we use OpenSpace on across the United States. We're always looking for technology that saves minutes, hours, days. The beauty of OpenSpace is it gives us one platform to consolidate all of our information to make communication that much easier.
So traditionally in the past, the tools that we were given to use were more office friendly, where nowadays is more driven towards the field where I can have observations in real time and not have to go back to my desk and type everything up.
One of the biggest barriers to technology in the construction business is going to be around whether it's simple enough for everybody to use. And that's one of the beautiful things. We can roll this out to any job site. It becomes a tool that everyone uses all the time.
If you want to provide upstream value to your PMs, your PXs, your clients, it all needs to start with the field and focusing relentlessly on your end users who are actually out in the field building the project.
So we're on punch list right now, and this is going to save me so much time. I'm creating a field note right now. Send this to Southstone, punch list area 1. That should normally take roughly 3 to 5 minutes on the old platform. So this, we're talking 20 to 30 seconds.
Traditionally, a photo is taken on a digital camera, and then we have to go through folder by folder when we encounter an issue. This could take hours. Now, with these smart image recognition technologies, we can go through all of the photos that are on the job site, surface information really quickly, gives our people time back in the day.
It's all about time. It saves so much time. I'm able to get back to what I'm really getting paid for, which is quality control, safety, in production on the project.
It's always great when you have a problem and the technology to solve it, but then the fact that you're not getting rid of it in a few years, you're actually growing with it. And that's what's been wonderful. We've grown into these new betas, these new offerings that you guys are developing alongside of us. And I love to partner with a company that listens to the people that are doing the captures, doing the technology.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael Jones. I'm a product team manager here at OpenSpace. Like so many of you in our audience today, I was a project manager in construction. I was facing all of the problems you're facing, like stress, tension, and frustration because of the complexity of these projects and the breadth of what we own. In that time, I rolled out different technologies to my team that would help me manage my work to varying degrees of success. One problem that exists now, just as it did then, was getting reliable visual and complete records from the field. Not having a solution that gave me visual data like a photo or historical images meant that I was spending a lot of my time driving to job sites back and forth in order to get that back into our system of record so that we could get paid. I've been in construction technology for about 10 years now, and I've never looked back. I focus a majority of my time in the contact industry building or implementing field-first platforms. Construction is getting more complex every year, but our tools are still mostly designed for the back office. In particular, these platforms are mostly designed around documents and forms, and that totally makes sense because that's what computers could understand and translate. When it comes to punch, deficiencies, snags, or design challenges, a picture really can be worth 1,000 words. Visual data is what matters most. ERPs and PM software, they're great for paperwork, but let's be honest, the job site is where the action is. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's where the money is actually made or lost. So many of the most costly setbacks happen in the field, and so many of the wins happen in the field as well. And tools built for the back office end up not being as useful as they should be in the field because the field isn't really about documents, it's about reality. You've heard from Jeevan that forward-looking customers have realized that there are 3 essential pieces in their tech stack: their ERP, their PM system, and of course, their field system of work. And that OpenSpace is the highest value bottom of that pyramid. That's because the data captured in the field is the data that should run the business. And that's what OpenSpace is about, and what OpenSpace Field is about. Speaking from my own experience in construction, this new way of working is really beautiful because it's just like the old way of working. Seeing an issue with our eyes, talking to the right people right then and there, and solving it. Not filling out endless web forms and words that ping around 5,000 times before you can act. Reality capture was just the starting point. Now with everything we built, it's effortless to go from, hey, I just noticed something, to it's visually captured, assigned, and tracked. So let me show you what I mean. So picture this. You're walking on your site and something's off. Maybe it's a quality issue or a safety hazard. In 10 seconds, you've snapped a photo, you've spoken a voice note to give it more context, and assigned it out. No extra steps, no bouncing between different applications. And crucially, that information has undeniable visual proof and location. All seamless, all automatic. No one should be doing desk work at midnight to keep up with field issues. And not only that, but this reality data flows where you need it to go, like Procore or Autodesk Construction Cloud. Everything is maintained with a two-way sync, no double entry. We want you to get more value out of the investment you made in your PM platform. A lot of our customers talk about the amount of effort it takes to keep those platforms up to date with really great information, and we're trying to solve that by making getting reality out of the field more streamlined. And that's why we built OpenSpace Field. It's not just a bundle of cool new features. Well, I mean, they are cool, but it's a more holistic way to rethink how builders can execute in a way that's visual first and powered by AI and centered on reality data, not just from the 360 camera or drones, but also from the smartphone and every one of your workers' pockets. Here are the new features making this real. The photo first camera flow. Launch it, snap your shot, and take action. No tool switching. We're bringing the power of OpenSpace Field to everyone who can operate their phone's camera app. If you're losing data to WhatsApp or text messages, or for forgetting what's been assigned to who and when you asked, this is for your team. We're removing all the friction and making it seamless to jump straight to the camera to document those quick hit issues as they come. No modules, no fiddling around. With AI Autolocation, there's no more hunting on maps to find out where you're standing. Field notes are auto-tagged to their real-world spot. Everyone, this is truly groundbreaking technology that makes observation and punch and issues so much easier to find. And you can bet it will fuel so many more groundbreaking user experiences in the future. So thank you to our AI engineers and geniuses for creating this. This is truly spatial AI in practice. Jeevan talked about this earlier, and you'll hear more about this from our CTO, Mike, later today. We're infusing AI everywhere in our platform. With AI VoiceNotes, you can talk to your device, and OpenSpace will structure the note, tag it, and assign follow-ups without you lifting a finger. It seems simple, but this is super powerful, and we're focused on getting the details right. There's so much context, knowledge, and data out in the field. And visual data and your voice ensures that it's all captured for your business, so you can make better decisions from the field all the way to the C-level. Ease of use is always key. With Copy Recent, you can quickly document those repeat issues like paint issues or things that are going to happen over and over on your job site quickly and with no fuss. And now that OpenSpace is ingesting these massive amounts of smartphone imagery, we want to make it easy for you to find what you want. With our media library and AI search, you can pull up every image with conduit or overhead piping. Just ask. AI handles the search, and it's tuned for construction. So we talked about the trifecta of construction technology platforms: your ERP system, your PM platform, and your field system of work. And they all need to communicate effectively with one another in order for this to really be meaningful. So we built complete, actually useful integrations, not just those that check the box. Our Procore plus Autodesk Construction Cloud two-way sync seamlessly push and pull data from both their system and ours, so you're no longer dealing with double entry and have risky out-of-date data silos. So let me summarize. OpenSpace Field isn't just about teams taking on extra work. In fact, it's quite the opposite. As we like to say, great products remove work. They don't add it. And with OpenSpace Field, your teams are just capturing more value from what they're already doing effortlessly. We're harnessing the power of the smartphone in your pocket and advancements in AI to make this a reality. A visual intelligence platform that has a clear and comprehensive view of the reality on the site. We use 360 images, drones, and now phones. We add an AI layer that makes sense out of all that data, and our workflows and integrations allow you to make better decisions faster. We believe this is truly going to change the game for the construction industry, but we want to prove it to you. So let's talk about real results. During our beta testing with Suffolk, we've seen results indicating a substantial time savings using this new technology. By the conservative estimate, it takes about 3 minutes to document an issue in their old system versus about 25 seconds in OpenSpace Field. And they wanted me to emphasize that these are high-quality field notes. More than 95% of them actually had properly assigned trades, specific drawings, zones, locations, and due dates, as well as a responsible party. That's an 86% improvement on speed alone. But having accurate and complete data is even more meaningful. So what if we scale that math to a large project? We've seen complex projects with over 17,000 issues or punch items. Imagine the potential time savings at that scale. If you do the math, that's an average savings of about 730 hours of labor. With the average union labor wages in the US coming in at about $75 an hour, this customer would have saved $55,000 on labor alone doing punch for this project, or freeing them up to do other high-value work. And that's not to mention all the other places where having better, more complete, clear data could allow for improved decision-making further down the line, reducing your risk and your cost. This is about moving from documentation, which helps, but is reactive, to orchestration, where you can act in real time to drive the project forward. And this is just the beginning. Next, our Field Note API will let you pipe those notes, photos, and insights wherever you need. We're also introducing new Field Note types that allow you to create Procore punch list items, observations, or Autodesk Construction Cloud issues directly from OpenSpace with all the location data and PDF details that you love. So I hope you can see why I think this is the biggest year OpenSpace has ever had, and how we're fundamentally simplifying construction. I'm speaking from my own personal experience as a builder here. We're moving beyond reality capture by harnessing the power of the smartphone and visual AI to fundamentally unlock a new way of building that is faster, easier, and more profitable than what was possible with document-centric technologies. Also, guess what? This stuff is out right now. OpenSpace Field is available for early access today for all of our customers, with a lot more to come in the future. If you'd like to get your teams going, reach out to your OpenSpace rep, and we'd love to get you up and running.
But wait, there's more. If we're bringing intelligence straight from the field, it would only make sense for us to make it easier for the field themselves to make better, faster, and more informed decisions as well. And today, there is a major blind spot: the field's ability to use 3D tools as they build. Greetings. My name is Molly Taylor, and I'm a senior product manager here at OpenSpace. I have a confession to make. Before joining the tech world, I worked for the dark side: architecture. During my design career, I saw firsthand the efficiency that 3D design tools bring to the design and planning phases of complex buildings. Since joining OpenSpace, I've been laser focused on unlocking the value that BIM can provide during construction in our visual intelligence platform. BIM is a big investment, a rich source of design data, and it's the most clear and immersive way for teams to understand design intent. But VDC and design teams are still the major consumers of models. For the field, models are often too unwieldy to load on mobile devices, and they're especially hard to navigate for folks working in the real, messy world of an active job site. Like Michael said, At OpenSpace, we are obsessed with building a system of work for the field. And we know that the model can play an important role in supporting your teams with better information at their fingertips. That's why we've built our own smarter BIM viewer. It's fast, intuitive, and most importantly, mobile-friendly. Our smarter BIM viewer is powered by a modern streaming engine. Think more like Netflix than VHS. So even large models load quickly and smoothly, meaning seamless access to design context right from your phone. I may feel a bit nostalgic for the Blockbuster days, but after trying our BIM viewer, you will not be nostalgic at all. Let's say you're on site, checking progress against design documentation or validating layout for an upcoming install. You notice a recent install looks off in the field. With one tap, you can create a field note from that exact BIM view and snap corresponding photos on the spot. No switching tools, no screenshots, no game of telephone and text and email. That note captures your location, your perspective, and the corresponding 3D view of design intent, all in field context. At the end of the day, putting the model in the hands of the field means that they can build more accurately and solve problems faster, closing the loop between design and reality. At a business level, it also allows you to get more out of your BIM investment because more people can act on design intent in 3D. Our buttery smooth new viewer is available in early access today. Get in touch if you'd like to take it for a spin, and we would be happy to set you up. To close us out, OpenSpace isn't just helping teams document what's happening on the job site. We're helping them drive what happens next. With smarter workflows, a frictionless mobile experience, and now a powerful field-ready BIM viewer, OpenSpace becomes the front end for construction, where work starts, insights are captured, and action is taken. When your field team can go from, I noticed something, to it's captured, located, assigned, and synced in seconds, and when they can use the model itself to understand context and resolve issues on the spot, you don't just move faster. You work smarter, you coordinate better, you build with confidence.
Hey Dan, thank you very much for letting us into one of your key projects in London.
Welcome.
Do you want to tell us where we are?
So this is our flagship project in the heart of London. It's 16 stories overlooking the wonderful views. Part of my role is to be the OpenSpace champion for Skanska building operating unit. I have to look at how we can consistently roll this out onto all of our projects. Skanska is a multinational company, and OpenSpace is used across business units across the world. So our Skanska infrastructure operating unit are also using OpenSpace on their projects as well.
So we're here on the M42 on the outskirts of Birmingham. I'm with Skanska and George with Paul. I'm really just here to learn a bit more about the project.
We're currently standing above one of the newest A roads in England at the foot of Birmingham Airport. We've got 16 kilometres of roads here, but we've got a team that's massively distributed. We've got designers working in Czech Republic, Southampton, and we've got team members that work remotely as well, because that's the new world we're in. So having a tool that allows us to collaboratively see the condition of our environment has been quite helpful.
Hey Leo, you're using OpenSpace here every day. Do you want to tell me about your experience?
I use OpenSpace regularly to try and capture the progress that we have going on site and movement of materials and works going on. It's really user-friendly for everybody on site and in the office. It's just an app on your phone, you just click onto it and it connects straight to the camera.
So John, I'm kind of hoping to understand how you use OpenSpace in an infrastructure setting.
We're here on the M42. We've got multiple projects on the go at the moment. What we use it for is pre and post condition surveys to understand how we've left the condition of the road and the surroundings prior to handing it over. And then when we inherit the road back, we'll be able to see if the condition is the same as we handed it over. It's a big risk mitigation piece. It's quick and efficient. Turn the camera on, connect the camera, start your capturing.
It's a very intuitive platform to use, very quick to mobilize, half an hour, and the project team was sort of flying with it. Just the simple nature of sending somebody out to do captures, the whole team can benefit from that. It gets used in meetings a lot. For commercial teams to look back in time, if there is any delays or claims as well, it's an immutable record and it's important that we have that record just in case.
The time-consuming task is often typing up what you're taking a photo of and why it's important. But with the AI VoiceNotes, you can assign people to the snag, you can assign a date when it needs to be completed by, and it's removing the desk work after the actual photo has been taken. If someone's asked me, oh, how's progress on something? It's so easy to just go back to the open space. You have a date and a location, and you can just click into the pathway that was walked and instantly give an answer straight away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Fleischman. I'm one of the co-founders and CTO of OpenSpace, and I'm excited to be here today to tell you about the technology behind OpenSpace's visual intelligence platform, and in particular, to tell you about a new capability that we introduced today called AI Autolocation. So what I'd like to do is deep dive into AI Autolocation, tell you more about what it is, and in particular, how it works, and then spend some time talking about the future and how we see the combination of location data and another technology you've probably heard a bit about called AI agents, how the combination of those two together can create a whole new class of agent that we call spatial AI agents. And I'll tell you about how we see that new class of agent impacting the future of the construction industry. So let's dive in. Earlier today, Jeevan introduced us to OpenSpace's visual intelligence platform, a real-time, field-first system of work that not only helps you capture the reality of your job site, but also helps you make decisions about what to do next. The way the platform works is it pulls in a vast array of different types of visual information, everything from 360 videos to drone images, even all the pictures and images that you take with your smartphone every day. It pulls in all of this information, and then we use OpenSpace's foundational spatial AI engine in order to process and analyze those images so that you can do things like track progress, make decisions, even take action, both inside our platform, but also through our partnerships and integrations with Autodesk and Procore. If you recall last year at Waypoint, I introduced the spatial AI engine and talked about how we created it by taking advances in technology coming from two megatrends in the world of AI research. On the one hand, we take visual processing advances coming out of the world of spatial computing, which is where algorithms were developed for things like self-driving cars and robotics and other real-world systems. We then combine those visual processing advances with advances in language processing from the world of generative AI, which is where large language models and ChatGPT comes from. By combining those two advances and those algorithms together, we can process that vast amount of visual data, aligning it directly to the floor plans and models of your job site, and then even diving into the images themselves, analyzing the pixels in order to pull out insights and create a kind of living model of your job site that actually evolves as the construction site continues. This allows users to navigate their data across multiple dimensions. Whether it's navigating by space so that you can pull up exactly the image you want using the floor plan to find where you are, or navigating by type so that you can compare what your job site looks like today versus any other point in time in the history of construction project. Or you can navigate by meaning so that you can find exactly what you're looking for using the same type of natural language that you'd use every day. Now, while vision and language on their own are a pretty powerful combination, earlier today, we introduced a new capability of the Spatial AI engine, which is all about location data. We call this new capability AI Autolocation, and I think it may be one of the most impactful technologies that we've introduced since we started the company. What AI Autolocation does is it allows the system to track users as they move about a job site, everywhere they go, even if they're going indoors. We can use that location data to then power our OS Field product, so that, for example, whenever a customer takes a field note or creates an issue or an observation, we can pin that object directly to the location on the floor plan that the user was when they took it, avoiding a ton of ambiguity. And the thing that is most exciting about this, at least from my perspective, is that AI Autolocation doesn't require any additional hardware setup on your job site. You don't even need to be wearing a 360 camera on your hard hat in order for it to work. All you need is the cell phone that you already have in your pocket anyway. So what I'd like to do now is take you under the hood of AI Autolocation, tell you a little bit more about what it is, and in particular how it works, And the best way to do that, I think, is to compare AI autolocation to another location-based technology that you're probably already very familiar with, and that is GPS. GPS, or global positioning systems, are a technology that almost everyone uses all the time. I actually used it today just to get to work on time and avoid some traffic. Originally developed for military applications, GPS can triangulate your position using satellites that are orbiting the world in low Earth orbit and can track users pretty much anywhere they go. I think it's fair to say that GPS is one of the most impactful technologies that has been introduced in the last 50 years. But there's one place that GPS has not made a big impact, and that is indoors. And that is because GPS just doesn't work that well indoors. In order to get a lock on your position, GPS requires your device to have a line of sight to those satellites that are orbiting the globe. But when you're indoors, things like walls and ceilings, they get in the way of that signal, and GPS can't get a lock. Now, there have been technologies that have been introduced to try and deal with this and create a kind of indoor positioning system. Those technologies are pretty heavy-handed in terms of the hardware requirements that they have. So one example of this is to use Bluetooth beacons as kind of proxies for satellites. The way these systems work is that you have to install Bluetooth beacons in specific locations indoors. Once they're installed, as you walk around, you can get a triangulation of your position using those beacons instead of satellites. Now, there are a couple of disadvantages to using Bluetooth beacons indoors, particularly for construction sites. One is just the expense. So these are not cheap systems. You have to, of course, buy the beacons, but actually setting them up and calibrating them can be pretty costly and time intensive. But even more critical for construction sites is that these hardware-specific approaches, they have an assumption of a stable environment. Once you put those beacons up there, they can't be moved around. They need to stay where they are. But construction sites are the opposite of stable environments. They're constantly changing. It's kind of the definition of construction. Walls are coming up, sometimes they come down, things get moved around, things are wet, things are dirty. All of these are very problematic for these hardware-based indoor positioning systems. Now, what we've been developing over the past 2 or 3 years at OpenSpace, though, is an approach to indoor positioning that doesn't require any additional hardware. And what I'd like to do now is show you a little bit about how that works using some videos that we put together. So this first video is one of my favorites. This is actually a video of the very first time we got AI Autolocation actually working on a job site. On the left there is Gabe from our AI team, and he's walking around the job site. This is a West Builder site, so thank you, West Builders, for letting us use this. You'll notice that there's no 360 camera on Gabe's hard hat. No extra hardware is installed on this site at all. And on the right, what you see is a visualization of what's happening inside of the system. Gabe's location is being tracked using those little Pac-Man icons, those circles there. And then what you also see there is a heat map visualization overlaid on the floor plan. That heat map is something we call a sensor map, and we generate a new sensor map every time a 360 capture is taken. The way this works is that as a user walks around taking a capture, those frames of video are uploaded to the Spatial AI engine and processed to create that living model that we talked about earlier. That model is then merged with the sensor data coming off of the camera and the user's phone, and then aligned to very specific parts of the floor plan. What this means is that the next time a user walks the job site, even if they're not taking a capture, the system can compare the sensor readings coming off of their phone to the sensor readings in that sensor map that was generated the last time a capture was taken. The system can then look at that matching, that fingerprinting, in order to try and estimate the location of the user at any point in time. Creates a kind of probability distribution. That's what that blue circle that's shrinking and growing represents, in order to estimate its confidence in where it thinks the user is. But what's critical here is that these systems are learning systems. These are learning algorithms, which means the more a customer uses it, the better it actually gets. This is a great example of the flywheel that Jeevan was talking about earlier. And it's because of this adaptability, this learning, that allows us to use this location data in our OS Field product. But OpenSpace Field is just the beginning. And just as GPS had an outsized impact in the world of outside, we believe AI Autolocation has the potential to make similar impact indoors, particularly for construction sites and in the field. And one of the areas that we're most excited about this happening is in the ever-evolving world of the AI agents. So if you're not familiar with AI agents or that term, it refers to a semi-autonomous digital assistant. You can think of AI agents as kind of an evolution of AI chatbots, similar to ChatGPT or Google Gemini. Both agents and chatbots are both based on large language model technology. They're both very proficient with language. But agents are generally more independent, more autonomous, very task-oriented. They're often working in the background to accomplish some goal that was given to them by a user. Now, we believe that by combining AI autolocation and agents, we can create a new class of agents, a class that maintains a kind of spatial awareness of where they are on a job site. We call these spatially aware AI agents, or spatial AI agents for short. And we put together some videos of prototypes that we've made to give you a sense of how we see these spatial AI agents impacting the world of construction technology. So in this video, you see on the left there another OpenSpace employee. That's Tom from our solutions engineering team. And he's walking around a Lee Kennedy site. Thank you, Lee Kennedy, for letting us use your site. And you can see his position is being tracked live using that hard hat icon right there as he moves around. So we actually call this feature live positioning. This is actually coming to the product very soon. This is just a demo version here, but already you can get a sense of the value that would come from having a kind of live positioning feature like this. At least anybody who's ever got themselves lost in a large data center can know how something like this might be useful. But we bring that up here for a different reason, really to talk about the usefulness of this for complex data. And in particular, the type of data I'm thinking of is BIM models. So BIM models, very powerful, lot of great real-world usage in the field. But there are a lot of challenges with using BIM in the field. One of which Molly talked about earlier today, which has to do with the performance. It's very hard to get these large models working well on a mobile device. But we've made a lot of progress on that. And as Molly introduced earlier today, our new BIM viewer goes a long way to addressing those performance issues. But another issue that comes up that I want to talk about here is actually about navigating that data. Navigating 3D data can be difficult, especially on a mobile device in the field. And so what we've done here is we've used the spatial AI agent in order to make that process easier. And so Tom now, as he walks around, can just open the BIM model, and that BIM model will auto-navigate to his location in the real world, and even lock on to his position and orientation. So as he moves around, that BIM model can even follow him along, track his location, and move with him. Now, of course, there's a lot of efficiency advantages to this. There's a lot of clicks that Tom doesn't have to go through. But beyond that, this also mitigates a lot of risk. And in particular, the kind of risk that happens when you think you're in one part of the model, but actually you're somewhere else. And that is a type of risk that can have very expensive mistakes. But that's only one kind of risk that the spatial AI agent can help mitigate. Another type of risk is something that I like to think of as a risk of missed opportunity. So in this part of the prototype, what we've done is we've given the spatial AI agent access to tools that let it access databases of information. Databases both inside the visual intelligence platform, but also in other platforms like Autodesk and Procore via our deep two-way sync integration. So what the system is doing here is, as it sees Tom moving about the space, it's looking for information that's specifically relevant to Tom, and in particular to Tom in the location where he is. So as Tom moves around, the spatial AI agent is searching those databases, and in particular looking for issues that need to be addressed. When it finds one near Tom, it'll actually pop up a notification letting him know that he should take a look at it. And not only give him more detailed information about what that issue is, but even offer him a suggestion of what to do next. In this case, an affordance is to actually call the foreman directly and find out what's going on. So giving AI agents tools is cool, but what is even cooler is when these agents start interacting with each other. So in this last part of the prototype, what I wanted to show off was what happens when the spatial AI agent on Tom's phone starts talking to agents that are operating in the cloud. And in particular, when it's talking to agents that are constantly monitoring all of the visual data that's coming into the system, analyzing that data and actually organizing it according to what's happening inside of those images. So in this example, the agent is looking at 360 video images and frames of video, and it's organizing them according to when drywall was installed. What this allows Tom to do is to, as he moves about the space, automatically pull up a kind of X-ray vision for where he is. He can open up OpenSpace and then immediately be jumped into the exact same room that he's in, but many months earlier before drywall was installed, letting him see behind the walls. And of course, this is a much cheaper and more efficient alternative to actually tearing down the drywall in order to see what's happening. But this type of data is useful not just in the field, but also in the back office and the executive suite. Just as Jeevan was talking about that data pyramid where the information from the reality of what's happening on the job site can percolate up. Similarly, in this design prototype, we show how information about all the individual projects of a particular customer overlaid on a floor plan can be informative of what's actually happening. On the left there, you see each of those individual projects with a very short high-level summary of what's going on that project. And as we dive in, we can actually see that AI project summary being generated. Now, it's important to kind of pause here because that AI summary that was generated there, that's not generated just using off-the-shelf language models on a bunch of documents that other people have written. This summary is actually being generated from the images themselves coming off of your job site, the raw reality of what's happening, converted into a natural language summary. We can get even more detailed information by going zone by zone and looking at a breakdown of what's happening there. And the system here is even giving us alerts about zones that we think need special attention. In this case, because a mess was detected in one of the zones in zone 3A. Now, you may have noticed that in this particular example, that image is not real. It's an AI-generated image. Those are not real letters on that sign there. And of course, the reason for that is that none of our customers would ever have a job site that messy, so we had to generate an image ourselves. But I think it gives you a sense of how you could imagine even more information being overlaid onto this type of high-level overview. So for example, if you're working with our partner Disperse and doing milestone tracking, you can start to see percent complete and progress being tracked here, even compared to the schedule, so that you know when you're on and off track. Now, these are all just prototypes, but what they're meant to do is start to paint a vision of the future. And it's a future that we at OpenSpace see is all about humans who are working together with AI agents. Agents that are on your phone, agents that are in the cloud, all within the visual intelligence platform. But not just limited to the visual intelligence platform. These agents can also be communicating and connecting with agents in other platforms in your tech stack, whether it's in your construction management stack, or like Procore and Autodesk, helping you close out issues faster and more efficiently, or whether it's agents that are in your ERP system, operating to try and auto-verify work in place so that payouts can go out sooner, so that workers can get paid faster. All of these paint a picture of a vision of the future. It's a vision of a future that we're very excited about here at OpenSpace, and it's a vision of the future that we're working hard to make a reality today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening and participating in this year's Waypoint. Hope you can see how we've taken a big step forward to be your system of work, an essential platform, the front end for the construction industry, so that you can operate in a way that allows you to make better decisions faster from the field to the office to the C-suite, day in and day out. And this is all available today. Drop us a line and we can get you set up. That's what it's all about. At OpenSpace, we are a visual intelligence platform. And with it, you can operate in a way that is always visible and never in doubt. Thank you so much.
Mark complete.